We are pulling into Better Bee. We're here to pick up all of our honeybee hives. I've never been here before, so it's very interesting. I don't know what their policy is on cameras inside, so we'll see when we get out. It's cute though. Oop, I see all the hives. Yay! So we got our beehives. So excited. We're leaving now. I wanted to catch the sign on the way out here. And it's snowing, so this is a perfect time to get it. Here's one of their signs. Better Bee. And then that was the sign I was trying to get. Well, I'll show you as we put things together when we get home. Okay, so I got everything home. I set everything up. I wanted to get things to room temperature so that way we could start painting it. We got a 10 frame deep brooder bottom, another deep brooder, and 2 medium supers per hive. So that's what we're going to start with. So here is unfinished, and then we're going to bring them downstairs and start painting them. So I primed everything yesterday, and we are all ready to paint. The wax smells so good. So let's get started. Checking on the chickens here. It's 20 below zero on this fine Saturday morning. At least it's sunny out, but it doesn't help when it comes to this. But I brought water out to the girls about an hour ago. Oh, and of course it's flooding. Oh dear, it is so cold. Hey girls. It's cold out. Sun's coming up though. It's gonna be warm out here. Came out to check the water. So my camera died because it was super cold, and at least we got to check on the chickens and they did really well. We had one night that was with the wind chill 30 below zero, so it was more about survival and making sure the chickens got through the cold. It's been a couple weeks since then. I know I'm a little behind the 8 ball here, but I wanted to finish up this video so that we're going forward within a month or so, we're gonna start some seeds. So I'm really excited about that. But I wanted to show you too, I just was starting to go through some of my seeds that I had left over from a couple years ago, and some of the seeds, like all my onion seeds that I saved from flowers from last year. The seeds are good. Actually, I could probably show you some of them too, because that's one of the things coming up that I'm going to talk about is seed starting, seed saving, and seed starting. But the good old trusted paper bags I went through. I have to go through a little bit more in depth with some of these because there's a lot of, you know, leftover product in here. But, oh, if you can see, you know, that's an onion seed that came from the flower from my plants last year. So I do have to go through and get rid of the rest of this, get right down to just the seeds. But that's what you do. You start saving seeds, learning how to save seeds. Paper bags are great. These seeds are going to be awesome. And actually, I can do an experiment too if you want. I'll do mostly these seeds, but I do have some regular packets of onion seeds left over from last year that I can do an experiment too and compare and see how well that these do compared to the regular ones. But I mean, these came from regular seeds, and that's what you want to do. You want to be able, sustainability wise, is be able to save some of your seeds. Now, I don't do it with all of them because there's some seeds that you need to ferment, like tomatoes, because they have the slimy coating over them. That's to protect the seeds, so you ferment them. But I happened to stop into Walmart one day, and that kind of segues into something else I wanted to talk to you about, buying seeds from places. I've thrown it all out the window. I'm not going to be super particular about where I get my seeds from. I'm really going to be focusing on my soil and the quality of my soil. These seeds are going to germinate whether you buy them from Walmart or you buy them from True Leaf. I still have leftover seeds from M.I. Gardener, and I still will buy from them, but I happen to be there and they had a whole ton of stuff, so I just bought some. And that's the biggest thing, just to do something. Even if you're buying seeds from Walmart or the dollar store, it's just getting out there and starting. So I also have my little, these are photo containers, like the 4x6 photo containers. And they work really well, but I have a ton of just loose seeds. So this may not necessarily be 100% practical for me, but for some of these things, it works out just fine. And I wanted to, I'll show you this first. So they're all kind of alphabetical order, and some of the things that I got, like I have plenty of stuff that I got from Walmart that grew amazing last year from seed. So I really feel like it's about the care that you put into them, and you know, and in your soil structure and sun, where you are, keeping everything nice and cozy. But I did, one of our local nurseries is closing, which is too bad because they were open for like 125 years. But hey, when you're going to retire, you're going to retire. So good for them. But I came in a little late to the game because I heard that they were getting rid of their seed packets, which were from last year, which is fine. They were selling them for 25 cents a piece. So there wasn't a ton left, but I mean, carrots, how many times do we just overseed carrots and then thin them out and chuck them? So I mean, I got all of this for $5. So how could I say no? There's a couple flowers in there, some big kahuna green beans, which I've never grown before. So I'm gonna try those. Bunching onions, some chives, some flowers, just stuff that I'll hang on to, but the carrots was the big thing. Apparently nobody wants to plant carrots, but I do. You know I do. So I wanted to keep those separate so I could show you those. And I do have a lot of flowers. We're going to plant a lot of flowers because, as you can see, we're getting our bees in April. So we're going to start building our apiary. And an apiary is just an area that you have your bees in. So that way I can grow flowers and stuff for the bees and not really mow, because as we're learning that they don't like a lot of like vibrations and stuff. So we'll try to keep the lawnmower out of there. Sorry, Jay. But as we get into next month and we start cleaning, I will do videos on your seed tray cleanings, because that is really, really important. You don't want to cross-contaminate with old bacteria from one plant to another plant during the seed while you're planting your seeds. You don't want to start off on the wrong foot. So I'll show you again. I do have an old video if you want to go back and take a peek at that. Just a little bit of bleach and water. That's really all there is to it, but cleaning them. And I really wanted to get better seed trays, a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper, a little sturdier, but I did order some today just to try them out. But I don't want to buy a ton because I already have, you know, the cheap ones. And I figure as they break, as they rip, as they tear apart, you know, I'll just start throwing them away and I'll start slowly, you know, buying some more higher quality seed trays. So when they come in, I'll show you those because they're going to be super cool. But we're still in February, so the really most important thing at this point is just to start planning what you're going to do with your garden. So I did go through and wrote a list of Garden 2023 and made a list of everything that I would like to plant this year. Now, you know, you get to the time and you're like, ooh, this plant's on sale, I'm just going to throw it in. By all means, do whatever. But I wrote down everything, you know, some things I'm going to direct sow, like carrots. I'm not starting those in pots. I'm going to direct sow them, and I'll go through step by step of when I do that and how to do it, because I found a really easy way to do that. So stay tuned for that. And just any of dates that I'm going to start seeds inside, and then when to plant them out, which will make it really easy for me. So about Thanksgiving time, how about St. Patrick's Day? Thanksgiving. I'm just pushing the year away. St. Patrick's Day, which is my son's birthday. He will be 17. So I'll keep that in my head. Around St. Patrick's Day, I can start some of the like onions, peppers, and then a couple weeks later, then I start with the tomatoes and the Brussels sprouts. Oh, what else? Just like kohlrabi, my loofahs. And once I get rolling, every week or two, I'll be starting seeds. I'll go over seed mats and heating and lighting and when to use a heat mat and when not to use a heat mat, because you don't want to burn your seeds. But last year I did go through, which is a huge help, and I highly suggest that you do this. I went through and made a list of every possible vegetable that I would plant. How many weeks that I would have to start it inside, how many days to germination, and how many days to maturity. So I wrote everything down in the list, and they're all in alphabetical order, so now I can just go through and be like, okay, carrots I'm going to direct sow. So that means just put the seeds in the ground. And it tells me how many days to maturity and pretty much when to plant them. The biggest thing you're going to need to know is your frost date. Nobody cares about what zone you're in. I mean, I'm in zone 5A, but technically, so I'm in upstate New York, and I have this little bubble. So I'm inside this little bubble, which is 5A, but everything around is 4B. So it's my geographic location. So there's some mountains around me that keeps my house a little bit milder than places around me, which, whatever, it's fine. What's most important is knowing your first frost date and your last frost date. So your last frost date It's going to be in the spring, before summer comes. And mine's, we usually run about Memorial Day. So give or take a week or two, because every year is going to be different. So I know that I can put my tomatoes plants in the ground on Memorial Day, and I know 99.999% of the times I will not get a frost. Then we go into, I kind of go from Memorial Day to Labor Day, because 2 weeks after Labor Day is usually about when we start getting a hard frost. So a couple weeks after that. So I do not have a very long growing season. Now I see some people online that are in the same zone as me, 5A, but their last frost date is like April. And their first frost date is October. So the zone isn't always necessarily important. It's the frost dates. Now I have a friend that lives 25 minutes from me, a little bit north of me, and he is 2 to 3 weeks behind me. I mean, he's not that far away from me. He might even still be within that bubble of zone 5A, but he could get a frost on Memorial Day. It's crazy. He definitely gets more snow than me, a little bit higher elevation, but that's okay. So it just goes to show that, within your area. So keep an eye on the frost dates, last frost date, first frost date, when you can put things in the ground, and we'll go through that as we go. So at this point, I'm just getting everything organized so that next month we can, behind me is my 3-season front porch, and that's where I've been putting all my seeds and my grow lights, and that way I can open up the front door to the 3-season porch, and I can heat it, I can cool it. My greenhouse kind of took a dive this winter, so it's not really in a good location anyway, so we might scrap that greenhouse. I know we worked so hard on that, and that's what it comes to. So stay tuned. We got the beehives all done. Those are looking great. They're going to come in the end of April. So once April comes, March, April, May, it's on like Donkey Kong. So I have everything written down. Everything's planned. And I'll show you as we go along. I'm not sure if I showed you the finished beehive. So let me show you. So they are all primed and all painted, all finished. And we're just waiting for the bees. So stay tuned. We have a ton to go over. It's really exciting. We're going to be super busy this year, and I can't wait. So from my coop to yours, thank you for growing with me so I can grow with you.